What's up, YouTube? Chris with Murphy Firearms Training. Have my Tippman Arms rolling block, and I've always wondered how this action works. So I'm going to take it apart and show it to you guys. So take this screw out. Very simple. Use a good screwdriver. Take that screw out. And this little plate with two little slots for the pin heads comes out. These pins come out this way. Okay, so if you're looking down the sights, they come out right to left. And the way you would disassemble this action, you'll actually go ahead and cock the hammer so that you get rid of this interference here. And we'll actually take the breech block out first. So you'll push this pin out. There's a little bit of tension on this. And if you take yours apart yourself, you're going to panic the first time, I think. Unless you watched my video. Because when you pull this pin, something goes clinking down into the action. So we're going to pull this pin here. Okay? And you'll pull this out. And something disappears, and it's this little piece here. It's your extractor. Okay, so you take your extractor. This is your breech block. Okay, there's your interference face. You can actually see that it's curved to match the hammer block. That's kind of cool. So, and your extractor fits right in that little groove there. Okay, so you got that. That's it. No spring tension under that, really. I mean, there is actually, if you look down in the, let me get my pointer here. If you look down in there, there is a spring, okay, there's a leaf spring there that you have to press down when you put this back together. But anyway, not a lot of spring tension, nothing goes flying. This one is under a great deal of spring tension, so I'm going to push it back. I'm actually going to go ahead and let this go forward. That takes all that spring tension off, and I'll show you, here's the spring right here. So there's this big spring, and when you pull this back, it actually, there's a big spring in here, and this compresses the spring. There's your half cock, there's your full cock. And so if you let this all the way forward, pull the trigger and let this all the way forward, takes all that spring tension off, pull that pin, and out comes your hammer block. Out comes your hammer block. So there's your hammer block. That's it. That is as far as I would take this apart. So in here, if you look very closely, this is actually your sear, which is connected to your trigger. Trigger has a little coil spring on it. Very large spring here, and then a leaf spring here for your breech block. That's it. You can clean down in there. You can clean your trigger assembly. You can clean these two blocks if they ever get dirty. This would especially be useful if you had a 45-70 and we're shooting black powder loads. You can get in there and get all that fouling out, okay? To put it back together, the reverse is pretty much the same. You're going to put the hammer block in first. I would put it in like this, okay, as far forward as you can. And basically what you've got to do is, it's a double-edged sword. You've got to line your trigger up with your sear, okay? And you've got to line this hole up here, okay? And so to do that, I like to get it about right here. And then you're going to start compressing that spring, okay? You're going to start compressing that spring. And it takes about 3 hands to do this. But if you get it all right, everything lines up like that right there. And you drop your pin in, hopefully, okay? And, of course, this is way harder to do on camera than it is to do when I'm sitting alone on my workbench. But, and I will say this Tippman rolling block, and I assume the old Remingtons and the other ones, the antiques, are like this as well. It's a very tight fit. That pin really fits in there tight. There you go. And once you get it started, you can get it to there and then just kind of rock your hammer a little bit, and it'll seat on the way. Make sure your full cock and your half cock notches. So that's all the way forward. Okay. Pull your trigger if it does that. Okay. If it slips past, half cock, full cock. Okay. Make sure that that works before you move on. Now to insert this is a real pain because you have to put this in there and then go this way and it tries to fall out. So, that's tough to do, and it's going to be really tough to do on camera. And I will, just word of caution, this goes one way. It goes like that, okay? If you try to put it the other way, you'll know it's wrong for a couple of reasons. One is when that's vertical, the holes don't line up. And two, your extractor groove, the high side has to be on facing the chamber to grab the rim of whatever cartridge you've got. So anyway, it goes that way. And the best way I've found to do this is actually put the gun muzzle down and press this against the back of the chamber to insert it. I'm going to try and do it horizontally. That ear gets in the way a lot. And you're going to see I'll probably mess this up at least once, if not 3 or 4 times, but we'll see. So I'm hitting that leaf spring now. So I've got to get this wiggled in there and get that leaf spring depressed. And it's kind of just a fight of how to get this in there. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this screwdriver through. What that does is if my extractor slips down a little bit, I don't lose it in the action, okay? So let's see. I almost got it. There it goes. Okay, so I got it that time, and actually everything's lined up. Get my pin in, and voila. Okay, so but once you get this started, get something in there. Like I said, I use a thin screwdriver. You can use, you know, a pick, something really thin. A lot of people will tell you to use a brass or a dowel rod, you know, and again, that's just to keep from scratching your finish. I'm putting it through a hole in the gun. It shouldn't scratch the exterior finish, but again, you do you, but put something through there so that extractor doesn't fall while you're trying to wiggle this thing forward and down to get it under tension with that leaf spring. And once you get these two in, give it a test fire. You know, make sure everything works. Make sure your action opens, your extractor pops out. I guess that's an extractor / ejector because it does both, okay? But make sure everything works, okay? And then you put this guy, make sure you put the 2 little grooves there and there on the head of these 2 pins, and then put your screw back. It's a very simple action to take apart and clean. It's very popular for folks who shoot black powder because you can get all the way down to the trigger group without really taking a lot of crazy parts apart. All of the springs for this gun are captivated down in the receiver, so they're not part of what you would take out, so you don't have to worry about things going boing. That's my biggest fear when I take things apart, is springs that just go boing. And yeah, that's one of my biggest fears, honestly. I've lost a few springs over the years, and I've learned a few lessons. And it's really nice to not have to worry about anything spring-loaded coming flying out of the gun. Voila, she's back together. That's how a Tippman Armory rolling block comes apart. It's a neat action. It's a very fun gun. I debated whether I wanted the 357 Magnum or the 4570. And I got the 357 Magnum because I wanted something that I could plink with, and this is perfect. The gun's really heavy. 38 specials kick less than 22s, and 357 Magnums, even hot loads, really, really don't kick like a centerfire rifle. So it's a lot of fun to shoot. It's a cool gun. You know, if you ever want to deep clean it, that's how you do it. Please do be reminded that this video does not in any way modify this gun. It in no way changes the function of this gun. This is solely for the purpose of cleaning. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you think, and we appreciate your support.